5 flaming hot NFL picks, rush hour movies, empowering with positivity, and more. All this on the latest episode of N1 from the End Zone with N.P.V. Yup, that's me. Please click on the subscribe button so you get notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it. So, 5 flaming hot NFL picks. We got Steelers over the Ravens, favorite at -3. I am taking the Steelers because the Ravens are resting their key starters. Lamar Jackson isn't playing. The Ravens just want to make it into the playoffs healthy, and we know the AFC North is a physical and hard-nosed division. Steelers are playing for their playoff lives, and Steelers are going to give it their all. Steelers are taking this game, and I take the points. Steelers -3. Patriots over Jets. Patriots have owned the Jets, I believe, since 2015, winning 13 to 14 straight times or whatever. Even without Tom Brady, Bill Belichick still owns the Jets. I don't know what it is. He just knows what to do against the Jets. Take Patriots -2, especially because I have a very Zapatak feeling. Bailey Zappi is trying to ball out and show that he should be the starter for the Patriots next year. Granted, I think they might pursue either Russell Wilson in the offseason or draft a quarterback. Either case, Bailey Zappi is going to go off against the Jets. Even if he doesn't, still take the Patriots at -2. Tampa over Carolina. I think that game is going to be a 21-18 game. Do not take the points. Just take Tampa on the money line. Or if you will have to take the points, take Carolina with the points. Yeah, I don't. It's a divisional game. I also believe Carolina is going into that game trying to ruin Tampa's playoff chances. I really believe it'll come down to a field goal. Baker Mayfield, when he tries to go off and show that he's more than what he is, and we saw that what happened last time, even though they beat Carolina, or I think Carolina might have won. I need to check that. But regardless, I think that game is going to come down to a field goal, and I think Tampa wins 21-18. Dallas over Commanders. I am taking Dallas. I do not want to take the points. I believe -13 for a divisional game, divisional rival might be too close. I also believe the Commanders are going to try to ruin Dallas's season, considering that it will probably be Ron Rivera's last game of his tenure with the Commanders, because they are obviously moving off of him at the end of the season. So yeah, this is the Commanders Super Bowl. They're going to try to ruin Dallas's season, make them the 5 seed. And so take Dallas to win by 10. If you have to take the points, take Commanders with the points. But take Dallas on the money line, because Dallas is going to win that game. Lions over Vikings. I've heard all week Dan Campbell talk about being high octane, being motivated, and yeah, they're still pissed off after what happened to them in Dallas last week. So they're going into Minnesota to prove a point, ladies and gentlemen. Take Lions -3.5. Take them with the points. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a blowout, especially because they got Mr. I call him Jimmy G 2.0. Super Jimmy G 2.0, because he just throws interceptions like a motherfucker. They got Nick Mullins starting this weekend, so I can see him going for 400 yards, 4 interceptions, and 2 touchdowns, and giving the Lions another victory. So yeah, take the Lions -3.5. An extra hot upset. Or 2, actually. So I am taking the Titans +3.5 points over the Jacksonville Jaguars. For some reason, Mike Vrabel's name has been in the news that they are moving off of him. Maybe it's because they're moving off Bill Belichick and he wants to take over that job in New England. Who knows? If that is the scenario, I could see the Titans and that locker room, especially with Will Levis, going crazy against Jacksonville, especially because they are trying to ruin Jacksonville, a divisional rivals playoff chances. So yeah, take Titans over the Jacksonville Jaguars, +3.5 points. And take the Giants over the Eagles at +5.5. The Eagles might win that game by a field goal, but Tyrod Taylor is trying to get a dub, and Tyrod Taylor is not Tommy DeVito, ladies and gentlemen, or Tommy Cutlets, as a lot of people like to call him. Giants at +5.5 points. I would take that because it's a divisional rival, and Tyrod Taylor wants to go and show that he has a lot left in the tank, and he can be a transitional quarterback, or help a team out in any capacity. So yeah, guys, those are my flaming hot 5 NFL picks, and those are the N-Xtra hot upset alerts or 2. So I hope you guys enjoyed this segment. Moving on to the next thing. An extra take or 2. So I personally believe Brock Purdy should start this week if Trent Williams is playing, especially because I would like to see him at least out there for a series or 2, because I want him to stay in rhythm, just get that game time speed so he can be ready for the first game of the Niners playoff in the divisional round. But with that being said, I also understand why they're resting him. He's coming back from elbow surgery at the end of last year against the Eagles. After what happened to him, and he's been dealing with the shoulder injury for the past couple of weeks. So resting his arm, making sure he's 100% and ready to go for the playoffs is essential. With that being said, Trent Williams has been dealing with a lot of ankle injuries this year. I believe his ankle got rolled up on again last week or a couple weeks ago. And actually, yeah, he didn't finish the game last week because of an ankle injury. So with that being said, I think they should rest him. We know what he's capable of doing. We know that we need him at 100% so we can run behind him, because we love to do that with Christian McCaffrey and Debo on the left side. But starting him this week, hopefully he's only playing a series or 2. I think is a mistake in my personal opinion. Like our offensive line is ranked 22nd in the league right now with Trent Williams. For some reason, we have I think 3 Pro Bowlers on there, 3 maybe 4. I don't see how. The reason why is when Trent Williams isn't there, we see that offensive line collapse, and not just on the left side, on all facets of that offensive line. And I think we're closer to the 28th to 32nd ranked offensive line when Trent goes out. With that being said, I really hope they only play him a series or 2 and then they rest him for the playoffs, because I genuinely just don't think it's a good idea to have him go out there and potentially risk injury. I could see Debo playing for sure, because he's, I think, 130 yards. Depending on how the game starts off, I know Sam Darnold is gonna feed Debo the ball, try to get him going early on. But if by the first quarter Debo hasn't put anything up, or he's nowhere near where he needs to be, then I think they should just sit Debo, because we're going to need that physicality the first week of the playoffs, when we play against whoever we have to play in the divisional round. That's just my honest opinion. So yeah, guys, that's an extra take number 1. An extra take number 2 would be the reason why I changed my pick from the Eagles to Giants, is also because right now the Eagles defense or the Eagles in general, they're reeling. They're not mentally okay. And we can see that by the press conferences. We can see how shook Nick Sirianni is. I appreciate Nick Sirianni's honesty and acknowledgement of what the issues are, which is great. But I think in this situation, at least in the NFL, he shouldn't say it so publicly, and he shouldn't acknowledge it to the public. He should acknowledge it within the locker room. And I think that would be better, because right now, with how he's coming off in the media, with how his players are coming off in the media, it just doesn't seem very, very confident. And especially at a time where Jalen Hurts is supposedly supposed to be healthier, things are just falling apart for the Eagles. The Eagles, I think, are bottom 5 in all defensive categories this year. And then their offense has definitely struggled. Tyrod Taylor is trying to show that he is still a transitional or viable backup in this league, and he's going to go out there and he's going to try to ball out against that Eagles defense, who can't pressure the quarterback like they were able to last year, who can't stop the run like they were able to last year. So I genuinely believe the Eagles or the Giants have a good chance of upsetting the Eagles, or at least making it a field goal ball game. I could see the Eagles winning 23-20 by a field goal. So that's why I said take the Giants in the 5.5 points. Because, yeah, that's going to be a very close game. And at this time, the Eagles are just not mentally there. So that's sports, guys. Let's jump into the Rush Hour movies. So the first Rush Hour movie came out in 1998. That's the year I was actually born. It has grossed $245 million. Wow, 300,000. That's great for a movie from 1998. It was originally supposed to star Martin Lawrence as Detective Tucker, but thankfully that didn't happen because they ended up casting Chris Tucker to be Detective Carter. And it was one of the greatest castings of all time. Obviously, Jackie Chan was Inspector Lee, and both of those two are an iconic duo, or at least action comedy duo, in my opinion. Like one of the best action comedy duos of all time. The first movie is about the Chinese consulate's daughter being kidnapped by an evil group, or an evil terrorist group, and he solicitates the help of Inspector Lee, who used to be his bodyguard or security back in China or Hong Kong, before I guess it declared its independence. And then what ends up happening is he ends up moving to the U.S. and being the consulate in Los Angeles. When he moves there, there's this evil terrorist group named Juntao. Juntao ends up being his best British friend. He ends up being Juntao. He ends up being the bad guy, and he's the one that actually ends up calling the hit to kidnap the daughter, which is a cool little twist at the end. But in the process, the consulate invokes the help of Chief Inspector Lee from Hong Kong. He flies over, and we see Chris Tucker, or Detective Carter, trying to do a drug bust at the beginning of the movie, and then things go haywire. She shoots at a trunk full of C4, thing explodes, and he gets into trouble. So what they end up doing is, as a punishment, or as a reward for doing the drug bust, which was more like a punishment, they end up putting him with Inspector Lee to show him around the sights in Los Angeles and everything. But Chief Inspector Lee is like not having it. He's like, I'm here to find Soo Young. I'm here to find my friend's daughter. I don't care. And you see them interact with each other. You see Jackie Chan try to run away, or Inspector Lee. Well, I'll call him Jackie. Inspector Lee run away from from Chris Tucker, or Detective Carter, and you see him climb I think one of those tour buses that they go showing you around the city of Los Angeles. You see Inspector Lee break into the consulate's house, and those fight scenes, and just in like the bloopers at the end of the movie, they're incredible. At the end, we finally figure out who Juntao is. You see Chris have his moment of I guess, a Western standoff, where he shoots one of the bad guys, and then they save the little girl. She hugs her dad at the end, and it's a happy ending for everybody involved. And then we see at the end of the movie, they cut out to them being at the airport, And basically the FBI coming to Chris and being, hey, do you want to join the FBI? And after everything that he had been through, and like after finding out that like they were just putting him on the case to just be like somebody that just what's it called, that just a chaperone, Jackie, he's like, nah, I'm good, I'm LAPD, I'm going on vacation. You can shove that in, you know. I love that movie. And then you see him and Jackie get on a plane, and I believe they go to China. Rush Hour 2 happens, and basically it picks up 3 years after the end of Rush Hour 1. Yeah, 3 years after the end of Rush Hour 1, it shows Jackie and Chris in China. Basically, I think Chris is on vacation, and Jackie's showing him the sights. Jackie's trying to just have Chris is trying to have a good time. Jackie is more or less like, or Inspector Lee. I'm just going to call them by their first names because I like, regardless of whoever they play, I always think of them as Jackie Chan because they've had so many iconic roles. They have at least Jackie Chan has so many iconic movies, so many iconic roles. Chris Tucker's his roles are far fewer, but they're also iconic. Like we can't discredit both of these men for the greatness or for the great roles that they've been a part of over the years that they've been active. So yeah, in Rush Hour 2, basically, Chris is on vacation after I think the whole thing that happened in Rush Hour 1. Jackie is basically back at work, and Chris wants to have a good time, but all they've been doing is just working Jackie's cases, and then Jackie gets a call in the car to go check out a gang bar. In this gang bar, the leader of the gang bar is Inspector Lee's the leader of the gang bar, or the leader of the gang is Inspector Lee's father's former partner. And he tries to talk to him like as a friend. Inspector Lee or Jackie comes up to him and he tries to talk to him as like a friend or whatever, or as like a normal person, or as a detective, more or less. And he's like, oh, Jackie, like the leader tries to act like he's friends with Jackie, or tries to act like he's cool with him. And Jackie's like, you need to come down to the embassy, this, that. And then, boom, cut, action scene. We get Chris Tucker doing Don't Stop Till You Get Enough and just dancing. And oh my God, that is probably one of the best scenes of that movie, especially because you could see all the gang members trying to kill Chris Tucker with their eyes because he's just dancing with all of their women. And he's just into it. I think that's part of the reason why I'm also a Michael Jackson fan. Chris Tucker's portrayal of, or Chris Tucker's impersonation and dance moves and fan affination of Michael Jackson is what I think. Besides, Michael Jackson has amazing music, regardless of whether Chris Tucker is a fan or not. But yeah, I think that personification just kind of made me more of a fan and just check out his music more when I was younger. But yeah, we get a scene where the leader of the Triad Gang dips out. They start the chase scene. Jackie starts climbing a bamboo scaffolding, trying to fight the bad guys. And then we get what's it called? Then he pulls one of the bad guys down, and he falls and fucking breaks his basically falls on breaks like a car, or I think it's like an ice tray or something. Breaks glass, and you see Chris sees him fall, and he's like, "Nah, brother, I'm gonna just take the stairs." Fucking runs up the stairs. He's an old lady going up the stairs, and you see Jackie Chan's whole fight action scene, which was cool. Then they go to, I think it's a happy ending massage parlor where the leader of the gang is later on in the movie. Chris is like, "Oh, you ain't gonna mess up my vacation." After he finds out that that's the only reason why they went there. And basically he goes up to the leader. He's like, "Get your ass." and things quickly escalated. We get another comedic fight scene there, and it's again, Rush Hour 2 is probably my favorite movie. Rush Hour 1 is out of the trilogy. It goes Rush Hour 2, Rush Hour 1, then Rush Hour 3. But yeah, then after that, what's it called? That massage parlor scene, they end up going, getting their asses beat. Or actually beating everybody in the massage parlor. Then more people come in and they're just like, God damn it. And they end up being basically put in a car, stripped butt naked. And you see them just covering themselves up with newspaper and everything. I need to go see if that film where they were like thrown out on the street with just newspaper was like actually on a street in China. Because I'd be like, or on like a highway in China. Because I honestly think that is hilarious. That was one of the most that was also hilarious. Again, Rush Hour 2 was the best Rush Hour movies out of the three of them. I recommend you guys go watch it. It's a great funny movie with a lot of iconic lines, a lot of iconic scenes. Yeah, guys, Rush Hour 2, I recommend it. You see, Ari Gold from Entourage? He plays a character in Rush Hour 2. I forgot the actor's name. Also, we're going to talk about Entourage on one of these episodes. Anyway, fast forwarding to the end. They get to Vegas. They end up basically, I can't fast forward all the way to the end. So, after the whole transgressions happen in China, they basically don't want them on the case anymore. Jackie is forced to basically go on vacation, and Chris is like, "Hey, come back home with me. Come back to LA or whatever with me or whatever." They get back to LA. They start doing a stakeout or whatever. They start figuring out who follow the rich white man. He knows who the rich white man is because they find they had been on a boat with I forgot the guy's name. He was the rich white man. Not Ricky Team. I forget his name, but he also meets Isabella in that scene. And what ends up happening is they follow the rich white man and Isabella back to Los Angeles. Jackie is on a stakeout and they see Isabella basically strip down her lingerie. They see the woman that had been delivering packages that had been bombs deliver a package to her, and they see that the package being delivered, and they instantly react. They run over to the hotel where the ladies at, break down the door, break it in, grab the package, and then try to throw it off the roof. And then it turns out that Isabella is an FBI agent, and she had been sent to infiltrate the Triad organization. And Ricky Dream or whatever the guy's name is, the guy who basically owns half of Los Angeles or Las Vegas or whatever, and that they were doing an undercover investigation, Secret Service investigation for counterfeit bills or whatever. She honorary makes Jackie and Chris FBI agents, but she just does it to get them out of the way. What ends up happening is, fast forward to later on in the movie, they end up finding what's her name? They end up finding the guy that is supposed to be, or actually no. So Chris Detective Carter, he knew his cousin had a illegal, an illegal underground gambling thing. And apparently there was a connection between him and one of the members from the Triad organization who came in, gambled at that site, dropped down some money, and it turned out to be the bills ended up being counterfeit. He gets the name of the guy. Jackie and Inspector Carter or Inspector Lee and Detective Carter end up going to the guy's job. They see the dude. And the moment that they see him, hey, we want to talk to you. The dude starts to book it. He books it out I think the emergency exit. Gets outside, and as soon as they get outside, Isabella's there with the whole triad gang, and boom, boom, both of them get knocked out, tied up, and put into a box truck, and then they're taken and transported to Las Vegas. Jackie ends up getting them both free, biting the rope off or whatever. Biting the rope to get untied, which I think is hilarious. The goons come into the truck, and they see them untied. They're like, "What happened?" Well, dude, aren't they supposed to be tied up or whatever? So what ends up happening is they get their ass beat. They escape. They go on the roof. Or Jackie goes on the roof. Or, no, Jackie pushes Chris on the roof. And Jackie has to, fend for himself because Chris is selfish like that. And they end up evading and escaping, and the goons there. They have to escape through a sewer. They see a rat. They walk through the sewer, and Chris is not having it. So they end up going to a clothing shop, smelling like shit. And that's when we see, I forgot his name, but he's the guy that plays Ari Gold in Entourage. He plays the character of, a gay designer, I guess it's a gay designer. He tries to hit on Jackie and Chris. They're like, "Oh, you my God, you're such a cute couple. I wish I could be a part of that sandwich. I was dying." Chris is like, "Get away from me, get away." Chris is like, "Get away from me." And it's a great scene. I recommend you guys just go watch the movie. Anyway, fast forwarding to the end, or fast forwarding a little bit to the fight scene inside of the inside of the casino. What ends up happening inside of the casino is Jackie ends up being tied up and a C4 thing bomb put into his mouth, wrapped up. Chris is gambling on the tables. Soon after, Isabella basically turns and reveals her true colors, that she's like, oh, she's a good guy, and basically saves Jackie, fights the girl. Jackie tries to fight and defend himself too, and then what ends up happening is the remote control thing that is in her hands or whatever gets thrown out of I think the suite that they're in, and falls out. You see glass shatter. You see Jackie dive out of the of the suite as well, trying to find the remote control so the thing doesn't blow up in his mouth or whatever. And that entire scene's comedic. You see Chris eventually fight the girl that was trying to kill Jackie, and she just goes crazy, crazy, crazy. And I think she steps on one of those spear things, ancient spear things that just goes straight into her, and she just falls back, and he's like, "Damn, girl, you dead." And then he goes, he finds the remote, or he goes, because at this point Jackie's already got the bomb out of his mouth, and he's trying to find the bad guy, the used to be his father's partner. He goes, he finds him. That dude had just ended up killing the rich white man, and Jackie saw it, and he's like, "Oh, Jackie, I had to do it. This, that. I told your father this, that." And then, boom, boom, boom. What ends up happening is he tries to pull out a gun. Jackie basically kicks him out the building. Dude falls to his death. And then the girl that fought Chris, the evil guy's sidekick, she comes in with a bomb, starts saying some stuff in Chinese, and Chris is like, "Oh my God, that's a bomb!" They both get crazy. They wrap the new suits that they had bought from the designer or whatever over this thing, grab it, and they just jump out the building parasailing or paragliding, grabbing on the thing, getting to the ground, and basically surviving. And then they end up being in the middle of the street, and then you see a semi truck come, and they're like, "Ah!" yelling because they had a split second to react and get underneath the semi truck so it wouldn't hit him. And then we cut up to the end scene where they ended up being at the airport again. Chris ended up being hot after being at the tables at the casino while Jackie was being what's it called? While Jackie was in trouble with the bomb in his mouth. Basically, what ends up happening is, Chris, he's like, oh yeah, I was hot, this is that. So they end up Isabella ends up going to New York, and then Chris is like, yeah, let's go, let's take a vacation again or whatever. He pulls out a big wad of money or whatever, and then they end up going to New York. Something happens in New York or whatever. And that's basically the end of the movie. You get the bloopers with the gefilte fish or whatever. And yeah, that was Rush Hour 2. That's my favorite movie of all time. Or not of all time. That's my favorite movie of the trilogy. I have multiple favorite movies of all times. Because, I like to watch a lot of movies. So fast forward to 5 years later, Rush Hour 3. 6 years later, Rush Hour 3 was released. Rush Hour, it got into development, I think, in May 7th of 2006. So Rush Hour 3 takes place 5 or 6 years after Rush Hour 2. And in that movie, basically, we find out that Jackie had had a thing or been in a relationship with Isabella. Something ended up happening where something happened at Isabella. She got shot or whatever, and they're not together anymore. And that kind of caused Inspector Lee and Detective Carter to not talk to each other for about 5 to 6 years. He comes back into town, and Detective Carter's just trying to reach out to him. Hey, what's going on? How you been? Hang out, da, da, da. Lee! And then they finally see each other because he hears... because Detective Carter at the beginning of the movie, he's a traffic cop now. He had fucked up so much over his course of a career that he had been demoted down to a traffic cop. He had a couple of girls pulled over. He was because they had just gotten in an accident. He was frisking the girls and checking them out or whatever because he wanted to get himself and Detective Lee a date for later that night. And then he hears the Chinese ambassador has just been shot or whatever. So before that or prior to that, there was a whole political conference where the ambassador was giving a speech. Inspector Lee was in town as the ambassador's security. And he was by his side or whatever. The ambassador gets shot. Lee's like, what's going on? And somehow, I don't know how he does it. Oh my God. Well, again, it's a movie. So he notices who the person that shot the ambassador was. He follows that guy. He jumps off the stage or whatever, runs after after the guy who shot the ambassador was. You see like a chase scene or whatever, and then you see the shooter get cornered, and as soon as he gets cornered and he turns around, he looks at Jackie, and Jackie notices that he recognizes the face, and that face is his I think it's his half brother or his orphaned adoptive brother or whatever, that he hadn't seen in a very long time, that had fallen in a bad path. So he can't pull the trigger. He shoots, but he doesn't shoot at him. He shoots to the side of him. And then because in all of this whole debacle or whatever, Chris had noticed Lee chasing somebody. So he follows Lee into the alley where the shooter is cornered. Lee drives the car in fast or whatever into the spot to try to hit the guy or whatever. Or no, Lee drives into the thing, the guy shoots, Carter doesn't notice, Carter sees the shot, so he dives out the way but doesn't push on the brake or whatever, so they just boom, go straight into the thing. Lee's brother escapes, and Carter's like, hey, Lee, I got his dates for later. And Lee's just like, come on, bro. You just let the guy go. Cut to the scene later on where like Lee tells him, hey, this is what's going on. Oh, why didn't you ever tell me you had a brother? This is that. They end up going to Soo Young's they end up going to the hospital to check on the ambassador, see how he's doing, see his health, see what's been going on. Then we get Soo Young, who comes in, and now she's like a mature adult. She's like 18 years old now, 17, 18 years old. She's a grown, mature woman, and she's like, oh my God, Inspector Lee, Detective Carter, please figure out who did this, why they did this, save my father, and please help, or whatever. You guys need to go down to my school. There might be some information. So she had been training at a kung fu or at a martial arts academy. They end up going there down in LA. And this is hilarious. So they go in there. Carter, being himself, tries to just like show that he knows some karate now or whatever. And and he starts talking crazy. He starts walking without asking for permission on stuff. And what ends up happening is basically this little boy hits him, pop, pop, pop. Carter's like, oh, you're gonna get your ass beat now, little boy. As soon as he says that, like an 8-foot tall giant comes out of wherever. Because, oh, you're going to get your ass beat now, little boy. Where's your teacher? So he goes into, I think, the back to go find the teacher. And then as soon as he does that, he sees an 8-foot tall giant. And the giant's like, oh. Carter's, like, scared. And then that turns into a hilarious fight scene between Chris Carter, or between Detective Carter, Inspector Lee, and the 8-foot tall giant. They get their asses beat. The master comes out. The blind master comes out, and I think his name is Detective Yu, or Master Yu, or me, or whatever. And we get like a me, you, me, you, him, who, or whatever from Chris, which I still think is hilarious. And what ends up happening is the master speaks to Jackie Chan in their native language, and tells him, hey, this is what happened. People were here. They ransacked her thing. They're already gone. So they get all the information. They go back to the hospital. This time, people are coming back to try to finish off the job for the ambassador. Finish off the job on the ambassador. But they had moved the ambassador to like a different floor, different spot, so nobody knew where he was. And these people come in, and we get like a guns blazing, shooting, fighting scene, where it's a great scene. I think most of the guys either got shot or like escaped, killed. I don't know what ended up happening to them. But what we end up getting is one of the guys is now still being. I think a few of the guys were tied down, and they were just waiting for like the police to get taken to take them away. But one of the guys had been taken into a room of into an interrogation room. They had brought a nun that speaks French to translate, and basically he talked. He told they told the nun to translate stuff to her. Chris is like, tell the Lord, tell the Lord he's about to have company. And he goes off and he basically threatens to kill. He pulls the trigger knowing that there's not a bullet in the chamber. So when he does that, the guy thinks, he's like, oh my God, he's seriously gonna kill me right now. Oh my God. Guys, check out Rush Hour 3. That's also a really good movie. At least I think it is. Basically, dude pisses his pants, tells him the information that he needs. They end up going to Paris, France. As soon as they get to Paris, France, the chief investigative, or the chief detective in France, stops Lee and Carter at the airport. takes him to like customs or whatever. Oh, why are you guys here? Oh, we know what's going on. Oh, you guys better not do anything fucking stupid while you're here. Yada yada yada. Basically does a cavity search on the guys for no reason. Got defiled. Then they meet the taxi driver that takes them around the entire city while they're over in Paris. And you got some great comedic scenes between the cab driver, Chris, and basically Chris pulls out the gun and he's like, "Sing it to me." "Oh, say, can you see?" And like the dude starts pissing his pants because Chris, he had just insulted America, and I'm just like, damn, this is hilarious. Granted, a lot of these things now wouldn't probably fly in the movie, but hey, it was great for its time. The dude was reluctant to take them to wherever they need he was reluctant originally to take him to the hotel, and then he takes him to the hotel. Once they get to the hotel, I forget what ends up happening. Oh, no. They don't go to the hotel. He tells them where, he gives them the location that they need to go. They go to that location, and then I think another action scene ensues. After that action scene ensues, what ends up happening is they have to escape somehow, and I think they get into the taxi driver's cab. The action, like, they start getting chased or whatever. Shots get fired. I need to go back and rewatch this movie, guys. I'm probably gonna go back and rewatch it. The fight scene ensues. They got They got shot down, or not shot down. The taxi cab gets fucked up. And basically, the while this entire thing is happening, the taxi driver becomes a fan of wanting to like just chaperone him and take him everywhere that they want to go, take him everywhere that they want to be. They now have their person, and they figure out that they need to find out who Genevieve is. Then they go to a gambling site. They do some gambling. They see who Genevieve is or whatever, and they start putting stuff together. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit because I need to rewatch the movie. I haven't watched it as much as Rush Hour 1 and Rush Hour 2. That's why Rush Hour 2, I could literally, like, and I'm still remembering things that happened in Rush Hour 2 right now that I forgot to mention, and Rush Hour 1. But in Rush Hour 3, what ends up happening is, like, they go to the show, they save the girl. She goes into, I think, her and Chris, like, she starts running with Chris. She's gonna sleep with Chris or whatever. And we see Jackie with, like, another, what is it? We see Jackie fighting another Asian, I guess, bad person or whatever that's trying to kill him or whatever. And it's behind closed door, and Chris thinks Jackie's getting it on, but Jackie's fighting for his life. And it wasn't until he sees a knife come through the door that Chris is like, "Oh, what's going on?" And he comes in, he's like, "Oh, what the hell?" And then like they dip out or whatever. We then fast forward to, I think, the scene at the Eiffel Tower. I forget how they end up at the Eiffel Tower. Again, I need to go back and watch it. So they get back to the Eiffel Tower. We finally get this the fight scene between Jackie and his brother. His brother ends up, I think, dying. Like, he falls off the Eiffel Tower. Chris, he has his moment with, I think, the swords or whatever. And yeah, like, they end up, like, I think using the French flag to parasail all the way down to, like, the ground, which I thought was hilarious, because I don't think something like that is even possible. But they end up flying all the way to the ground. The inspector that had done the cavity search at the beginning of them getting to Paris shows up. He's like, "Oh, you guys did a great job," or whatever, trying to take credit for everything that had happened or whatever. And you get Chris saying, "Oh, fuck you," or whatever to the guy, which I think was hilarious. And yeah, like I that was the end of Rush Hour 3. Um, I enjoyed Rush Hour 3. I need to go back and rewatch it now that I think of it. I'm probably missing a lot of stuff. But in all honesty, I hope they come out with the Rush Hour 4. Rush Hour 4 was stated to be in development as of 2022 by Jackie Chan. But again, they announced it originally there was gonna be a fourth Rush Hour back in 2012. That's when the original target release date was. I Things happen. It's been confirmed, unconfirmed. We've seen, there's videos of Chris and Jackie both coming out and saying, yes, we're doing Rush Hour 4. But as of right now, I think the latest news is as of December of 2022, Rush Hour 4 is in development with Jackie Chan. So I'm really looking forward to it. There was, I believe, a Rush Hour TV show that was that released in 2016. With John Fu playing Inspector Lee and Justin Hires as James Carter. I don't think that show did too well because it was canceled after one season, and I don't blame him. I think to be completely fair and to be completely honest, there's only, in my opinion, one Detective Carter and one Detective Lee, and that's Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. And yeah, guys, I recommend going to watch the trilogy. I really do hope that we get a fourth Rush Hour movie. It's one of my favorite movie trilogies, movie franchises of all time. It's my guilty pleasure movie. If I'm ever feeling down, if I'm ever feeling like sad or whatever, I can always put on the Rush Hour movies, and that always cheers me up. I recommend you guys watching them, because they're always a good watch. It's always a good time. But yeah, that's my breakdown of the Rush Hour movies. Again, like for example, One Piece, TMNT, the Rush Hour movies. I'm gonna do in-depth episodes just on the movies after I watch them again, and just break them down a little bit more, break down my favorite scenes and all that. Right now, I just gave you a rundown of the entire franchise. Again, as I figure out how to do this podcast, things are gonna get better. I'm trying to keep and we're gonna talk about other stuff. But yeah, like, things are gonna get better, and I'm gonna figure out more condensed, shorter topics of conversations just to put into these things. So yeah, guys, that was my take on the Rush Hour movies. Announcements and updates. Shout out to A&A Radio with my buddy Alex A. Check out his YouTube page. Follow, like, subscribe, and share his content. He's coming out with the second episode tomorrow or Sunday. Yeah, check it out. Sometime this weekend he's dropping the second episode. Great content. Talks about life, movies, and cars. Hey, that's my guy, A&A Radio, guys. Shout out to my little brother Alex PH. He's my blood brother. He's my actual brother. He is my little brother. He'll be actually on here to discuss NFL, NBA, give you guys a breakdown on the NFC, AFC quarterbacks, and playoff prediction as well. I hope to make him a little bit more of a regular, because I personally think having two people on a podcast more frequently is more entertaining than just one. Shout out to Johnny Beefcake, another person that I hope to have on here from time to time regularly to either break down music or break down movies and talk about life. He's originally from Florida. He moved out here, and his story, guys, it's, in my personal opinion, it's inspirational. He's been through a lot. He's grown through a lot, and I hope he can share his stories with you guys. And yeah, some of these episodes, for example, my goal with my episode with Johnny Beef is just to have a one-on-one life conversation. That one's going to be more empowering with positivity powered episode than sports oriented. So yeah, another thing, using Adobe Express for editing. I'm using Adobe Express for editing my videos now. I'm using the free service. This is not a paid sponsorship or whatever, But I think it's, if you guys want to do podcasting, if you guys want to edit your videos or just in general, use Adobe Express. They have a free service. Once I learn and master it and get better at using Adobe Express, I'll probably start paying for the $9.99 subscription. And yeah, they teach, it shows you how to, you can use transitions, you can add stickers, you can add images. It's a really good, nifty tool to have in your arsenal. So yeah, I'm starting to use Adobe Express for editing and hopefully improving this content later on, from here on out in the future. And another thing I wanted to touch base on is episode runtime. I am trying to have my episodes run between 30 minutes to an hour and 15. I'm not trying to do a 2.5 hour long episode. Part of the reason why the last episode was 2.5 hours long is because I wrote a 2.5 hour long episode and I needed to see it through. I was afraid that I wasn't going to have a lot to say or a lot of topics of conversation, but now that I've gone through it, I have a newfound respect for people that do studio shows. So we'll actually talk about that in a second here. And then finally, changing segment orders. So at the beginning of the video, you see, or as you guys may notice, I've changed announcements and updates to be after I've already touched on the topics of conversation that I wanted to do for this video, which is my top 5 NFL Flaming Hot picks and rush hours. Reason for that is because I've been watching YouTube videos, or I've been watching videos on how to, the best advice you can get to improve viewership, improve my content, improve stuff like that. And one of the things, since the announcements and updates and empowering with positivity are more based on my podcast in general, they're going to be closer, they're going to be put at the end of the episode rather than being my opening segment. It's going to just be at the end after I've already touched base on the rush hour, or after I've already touched on the topics that I want to talk about. That way I can have you guys more engaged. And if you guys enjoyed that content, hopefully you stayed around for announcements and updates. And yeah, we're just changing order. Eventually, once I get more comfortable and just get better timing on things down, things are going to change and things are going to get better, and you guys are going to notice the standard and the improvements over time. Now moving on to empowering with positivity. So, we're going to talk about how I created a 2.5 hour long podcast. Really briefly, so I created a 2.5 hour long podcast on accident. It was literally because I was afraid that I wasn't going to have a lot to say. And once I started diving into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, One Piece, FS1, and all those things that I talked about in my first episode, including the NFL, in the first episode, I didn't realize that I had quite a bit to say. So the nice thing is, based on just that one episode, I have a lot of topic of conversations that I can now dive into for the future. But I also have a newfound respect for the people that do studio shows, for the people that write the shows, writing it, coming up with topics, making sure you do your research, because I'm doing everything for myself. Nobody's doing this for me. It's a lot. It's quite a bit. Editing itself can take up to 3 to 4, maybe 5 hours, depending on how picky you are. I'm a little bit picky, but again, I'm picky because I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm just trying to, as you guys can see, I'm gonna improve. I'm trying to improve it, and essentially, when I filmed that episode, Doris was upset because I wasn't coming home, because I wanted to see it through and she wanted me to break it up into two episodes, because 2.5 hours long, guys. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a full episode. That's a studio episode. That's a studio episode. And it's something I'm actually proud of. Doris just wanted me to come home because she loves me. She loves spending time with me. She loves it when I'm home with her, with my baby. But I needed to see it through. I had to make sure that what I was putting out there was something I could be proud of. And I wasn't going to just half-ass it. And then, no, I wanted to be proud of what I put out there, and I had wrote the entire thing. And I wasn't going to just cut it, put it into 2 parts, especially because I knew my NFL picks might change by the weekend or by Friday. And obviously a couple of them did. So check that stuff out. So yeah, like I wrote it, I followed through with it, I learned a lot from it. If it wasn't for me going through that process, I wouldn't be using Adobe Express. I wouldn't be incorporating more stickers. I wouldn't have found a couple of videos that are helping me, which I'll actually post a link in the comment in the description, so you guys could also look at some of the video that I looked at that gave me some of the tips. And yeah, I have a whole template. I have a whole actual show that I'm trying to create for you guys, and I hope you guys are enjoying this content because I'm passionate about it. And that's also another thing. Do things that make you happy. Take care of your mental health and your happiness first, and then that's going to allow you to take care of others around you. I have a daughter. I have a wife. I provide for them. But in order for me to be able to take care of them and provide for them, I have to make sure that my mentals and my happiness are taken care of as well. So they always come number first, regardless of whatever the situation or circumstance may be. But when I am assured that they are okay, that they are fine, I can take that and be a little bit selfish. Like, for example, when it comes to this podcast, take some of the time that I would be giving to them and focusing it on this, because I know this is helping me with my happiness. This is something I'm passionate about. And Doris, she understands it. And that's why, again, I'm trying to shorten this, because I'm doing this all by myself and I can't be taking away that time from my wife and my child. At the same time, I'm not going to stop doing this, because it does take away some of that time for them, because it is making me happy. It is something I'm passionate about. And that's just something that I want you guys to think about and hopefully do for yourselves. Think about what makes you happy. Sacrificing, for example, you may have a long day at work. You love coming home playing video games, but that's not fully satisfying your happiness on what you want to do. Sacrifice some of that time, or sacrifice some of your video game time. So sacrifice some of the time that you might be doing something that's not fully completely productive, to go and pursue something that you guys want to do. Because at the end of the day, that's going to motivate you to be better. That's going to just help you mentally a lot more. And that's going to push you to a different level in a different realm, where you're just going to be thinking about success and how happy you are doing the stuff that you are. And only good things can come from that. So that is where I am going to leave off with empowering with positivity. Focus on your mental health. Focus on your personal happiness. And doing that will allow you to take care of others around you, especially if you have responsibilities like I do of taking care of a family. Just always make sure you yourself are okay. Because sometimes men, women, whoever the primary person who provides care or support for that family is, we lose sight of that. And we fall into a mental slump and into a mental depression. And I just want you guys to know that make sure you guys are taking care of yourself. I hope you guys are, and that's kind of how I function. That's why I try to be so positive and happy all the time. Yeah, guys, that's empowering with positivity. Brief recap on the episode. We talked about my 5 flaming hot NFL picks. We talked about the Rush Hour movies. We went through announcements and updates, and we also did empowering with positivity. I hope you guys are enjoying this content. Please, I hope you guys follow, like, subscribe, and share this content with your family, friends, grandmothers, children, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever, cows, if they can, like, stream. Like, yeah, I appreciate the viewership. Yes, I do. I love you guys. If you guys haven't heard it, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. You guys are incredible. Just know you guys are a big source of my motivation to do this, because I hope that my content is appealing to you guys. Yeah, please give it a like, subscribe, follow, rate it, share it, leave a comment. Check out A&A Radio with Alex A. That's my best friend. He's been my best friend for 20 years. He's putting out his next episode this weekend, so check that stuff out. And yeah, guys, please. In the next episode, just really quick, we'll be going over the NFL games that were played this weekend. I'll be going over the AFC playoff quarterbacks, and hopefully I will be doing all of this with my little brother Alex PH. So stay tuned. Monday, today's the 5th, January 8th, episode 004 will be out with hopefully Alex PH, and we'll just be recapping the weekend games and the AFC playoff quarterbacks that are officially in at this point. You guys just watched episode 003 on January 3rd, 2024. I appreciate you guys for being here. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this content and you'll be coming back and staying tuned for more episodes. Please follow me at N1 from the N_zone on all my social media platforms, or on all the social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, also known as X now, TikTok, YouTube channel, Instagram. I don't know if I said that. Again, you can follow me at N1 from the N_zone. And again, I appreciate you guys. If you haven't heard it enough, or if you don't hear it enough, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and stay tuned for more episodes. Thank you guys.